So you're afraid to talk to girls. How do you beat it? This is how you beat it. Approach anxiety, right? AA, right? Instead of Alcoholics Anonymous, you're just as scared to talk to girls because you're a pussy. Now, how do you stop being a pussy? Very simple, okay? You have two things that'll possibly help you. And depending on your personality, one will work, one may not. Both might work. There's positive and negative motivations, right? Motivations. Okay? So, when you have anxiety, fear, what is that? Why does fear arise in your consciousness? Well, because you see something that you want, but then a negative thing comes into your mind and creates a negative emotion. That negative emotion overpowers the positive emotion and you don't act, right? So we have to counteract the negative emotion with either a positive motivation or actually a negative motivation. So you can beat your fear with a different fear, but that'll actually motivate you to approach. So let's go through the second one first because it's actually kind of interesting. You might be thinking, how do I use negativity to beat negativity? Well, it's possible. So I see a girl, right? I'm standing here on the street and I see a beautiful girl. And so I watch this retard on YouTube and he said, hey, go talk to girls because if you don't talk to girls, you're not going to get girls, but you want girls. So go talk to girls. But then I see her, she's really pretty, and then I'm going to be creepy, right? This is creepy. You can't just go talk to random women. You have to be introduced to them by friends, right? Or meet them on online dating, right? Because that's the way you do it. Anything else is creepy. It's a retarded idea, but a lot of people have it. Or I'm just going to get rejected, right? I'm going to make her uncomfortable, okay? Okay. That's a negative motivation that brings you in a negative direction. I'm going to replace it with another negative motivation that's stronger than that fear. So you have what I just said, negativity, right? Here's your bad negativity, little pee-pee energy, right? Versus big dick negativity with a big fucking dick. What is that? That's regret or shame. So regret, shame, bullying. Okay? I'm scared to talk to her. Little dick energy. I'm going to regret being 80 years old and never having talked to a girl in my life, or actually had a pretty girl in my life, or had a pretty girl touch my pee-pee, lose my virginity, or, you know, if you're not a total fucking loser, you know, actually had a girlfriend that I'm attracted to, whatever. Regret. Pretty fucking strong. But in order for it to actually work, you have to get really into it. So if you have an imagination, right, you're a very visual thinker, well, okay, start imagining yourself, you're on, you know, your deathbed, you're dying of cancer, you can barely breathe, right? Deet, your fucking EKG or whatever is slowly failing, right? You don't have any family, you don't have any friends, you're a fucking loser, and you're gonna die, and you're gonna die with a whimper, and no one's gonna give a shit. Well, no one's gonna give a shit anyways, right? Because who gives a fuck, right? But at least if you had used this visualization in your favor when you're standing there on the street rather than when you're actually fucking dying of cancer, right? You use it, you get scared, and you go, okay, I don't want to be on my deathbed. I'm going to die pretty much useless anyways, but at least I got some good pussy before it happened. Pretty fucking good motivation in my opinion, right? Okay, regret. Or if you don't want to be so fucking dramatic and dark like I am, which is fine, I'm pretty edgy, you know, I'm going to regret it today. So fear is a feeling, right? Well, okay, later on, in like a day or later that day, I'm going to feel regret for not having talked to her. Well, that's a negative motivation too, right? So where's your long-term investment thinking? Well, here's a negative feeling right now, but once I go to talk to her, that fear is going to disappear. It's going to be replaced by a second fear, which is, what am I going to say next? But it's a different fear, right? So you're going to have a couple little short injections of fear right now, but later on, I'm going to be sitting there home alone, and I'm going to be like, fuck, I should have talked to her. Oh my God, that girl was so beautiful. You know, oh, maybe she had a boyfriend. But who knows? Maybe she was actually single. Maybe she would have actually liked me. Maybe I'm not totally fucking pathetic. You might be. But maybe I'm not a total fucking loser. Oh my God, you know, maybe I have a chance. And you cry and you go to sleep. and you wake up and you do the next thing the next day, right? You go back to your shitty fucking job and you live your shitty fucking life. Okay? Regret. Pretty strong. That regret later on is a lot stronger than, I'm afraid to talk to her right now. So you use a negative to beat a smaller dick negative. Big dick negative beats little dick negative, right? Shame. Okay? What I've told some clients is, and what I've done to myself, I've used this is actually my strongest motivation, right? I'm more of a negative motivation person. That's just my personality, as you can see from my very strange way of talking, right? I'm not talking this way to hurt you. I'm talking this way to motivate you, right? But if you're not that kind of person, you're more of a positive person, well, you probably don't really watch my channel because I'm not a likable personality to you, right? But I use all of these for myself, okay? So I've used that regret before. I've also used a lot of shame, and it's what I actually tell some of my clients. I say, okay, if all else fails, I want you to imagine my face, right? Just cut it out, Microsoft Paint, right? Plaster it in your mind, just my fucking ugly face, laughing at you, calling you a little bitch, a little pussy, no one's ever gonna love you, and you suck dick. And what that hopefully does, if you have some semblance of pride, is you're gonna say, no, go fuck yourself, Hector. I'm gonna go talk to that girl. No, you're a bitch. You're not gonna talk to her. No, I'm not a bitch. Fuck you. And you go in and talk to her. Right? I've even had some clients tell me, like, I've actually done that before. I know it works because clients have come back and told me, I was afraid to approach her, then I imagine you call me a pussy, and then I went and I talked to her. So it worked, right? If it works, it works. Now, don't get to the point where, you're hurting yourself. That's not the goal, because then that's just self-abuse and you're actually not listening to the advice because you're just being a whiny little bitch, which is the exact thing we're trying not to do, right? So if you have a tendency to turn these things into like hurting yourself, don't do it, okay? But if you do it just enough, right? It's kind of like vaccinations, right? If you take some of the disease, whatever it is, and you inject it into yourself, it actually helps you build up an immunity. But if you just straight up give yourself AIDS, well, then you just have AIDS. You're not resistant to it, you just have AIDS, right? Okay, so use some shame or even bullying, kind of what I just did too, right? Now, you don't have to use the ones that I said. You can come up with your own regrets. Everyone is motivated by different things. You might be a negative motivator, but you might need a different specific way of talking to yourself, okay? Be creative. Think of some. I was going to come up with more stuff, but you need to do the work, right? Okay, so that's negative motivations. Positive motivations. Positive motivations are romantic visualization, right? Sexual visualization. So these are some positive ones. If you can't read my dyslexic handwriting, romantic visualization and then sexual visualization. So romantic is obviously, this girl could be my wife, right? The specific one that you're afraid of, or just in general, like I need to approach a girl because I can see my future with a beautiful woman and, having a nice family and having a, blah, 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 right? Picket fence, all that shit. Or you can turn it sexual. Whichever one is stronger for you, you'll find out because it'll work, right? You might be a more romantic personality. You might be a more sexual personality. So if you see a hot girl with a fat ass, well, try to undress her in your mind and imagine her like bent over and like your cum dripping out of her, and you just like smashing her head into the bed and just like fucking her like a dog, like whatever kind of shit you're into, right? Imagine that. You can do both. You can be like, oh, I'm spending time with my beautiful wife and we have our kid, right? And then, happy, nice family, go out for dinner, right? That's not going to happen unless you go talk to this girl, right? Because talking to this girl, she might not be the one who becomes that, but this approach right now with this girl is going to be a brick in building up to that point. Because some people have this fucking delusion that you're just going to meet a girl that you have perfect chemistry with, which may actually happen. But that might just mean you had enough chemistry for her to like you, but not enough chemistry to carry it the whole way and end up on a date or end up actually like hooking up or actually getting, making her your girlfriend, right? There's plenty of people out there who would really get along with you, but because you're kind of a loser right now, those positive things that you could actually connect with that human being on that level, they are covered under a pile of shit, which is your bad habits, your insecurities, your lack of communication skills. You don't know how to maturely express your emotions. You don't know how, positive or negative, right? So approaching this girl is going to be one step in that direction, or she could actually be your future girlfriend. You don't know who's going to be your girlfriend until you actually go talk to her. Like, it's pretty simple, but if you think about it, you don't just go. I've had plenty of times where I thought a girl was going to end up being my girlfriend. I was so attracted to her. We had great chemistry. You know, we were on a date. We were making out, blah, blah, blah. But then, you know, never hear from her again. I was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. We had a bunch of chemistry and this and that. But there was things that I either couldn't see in front of me or they were external. Like, she was still talking to an ex-boyfriend, right? And so she did like me, but she had all of this baggage with this other guy that she had been dating for 5 years. And then, you know, he could probably spidey sense that she's about to get some other dick. And then he reaches out, you know, that night and texts her and she goes, oh my God, I just went on this great date, blah, 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 blah. Or I was just a fucking weirdo and I thought we had chemistry, but, you know, I was actually, you know, she kind of liked me, but then she's like, this guy only wants sex, or, you know, he's just a fuckboy, or, you know, he's okay, but he's not quite what I want. Could have been 100 things, right? And I was for sure this girl's gonna be my girl. And then it wasn't. It's happened to me tons of times, right? So get out of this fucking delusion that you're gonna, someone is orchestrating you to meet a girl of your dreams. They're not. You're in control. No one else is, okay? So, visualization. There you go. Pride / proving yourself. Okay. This is like the positive aspect of shame. So instead of you're a piece of shit, it's like you could be great. Come on, Tyler. Come on, fucking Felipe. I don't know who the fuck is watching this, right? Whatever your fucking name is, right? Come on, man. Talk to yourself in the third person. I can be great. I can be amazing. You know, think of yourself. Not so much like visualizing her, but like in that situation, right? I'm making money, I'm in good shape, I got bitches, or I got one girl, you know, she's my baby girl, whatever. I'm such a great person, or I can become such a great person if I put in the work, that eventually I'll be in that place. There you go. So there's a couple positive motivations and there's negative motivations. The only goal is that it's somehow going to overpower the fear right now. Then the two greatest fears you'll deal with, with approach anxiety, is just getting out of your house in the first place. Okay, that's the first step. Then being out there, right? Like I have one client, he'll get himself out there. He'll be out there for like 4 fucking hours a day, but he'll only approach like one girl, or maybe none that day, okay? Now, he's still better than most of you. Most of you are just fucking pussies and you can't even get out of your house, but he'll actually get out there, but then he's stuck on that second fear, which is he sees her, right? And he'll just like deliberate for fucking, 10, 15 minutes, and then she's fucking in another goddamn county by the time he comes to the realization that he should talk to her. And then he comes home and he's all fucking depressed and blah, 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 right? I'm working through it with him. It's not the most exciting coaching in the world. I much prefer just, hey, I talk to a girl. Even if you're totally fucking stupid and you say dumb shit, I'm glad you're actually talking to a girl, right? But, like I said, he's still better than most of you, because most of you can't even go do one fucking approach. And you'll be surprised. Some of like my most like Chad cool clients are actually some of the biggest pussies. And some of like my more like not as cool, loser-ish kind of clients actually have the balls to actually go and talk to girls, because they're in a place of, they have such little pride. It's kind of like they have nothing to lose, right? They're already in rock bottom, so let's just go fucking try something. Then the guys who are already cool, they have so much to protect, and so they're afraid to go approach. So they'll mostly do online dating, or they'll talk to girls who are, at restaurants that they frequent a lot, or through friends, or, it's kind of strange, right? But if all of you could just get your fucking asses out there and start talking to girls, you would solve so much of your problems. Like I have this one fucking client, he's just like wasting his time talking to some girl who's in another fucking continent. He spent hundreds of hours talking to this girl, and then he wastes time in our coaching sessions. And I'm like, dude, you're spending so much fucking, like I'm expensive. I was like, dude, all this money you could be spending on an actual girl who you're gonna meet in real life. So some of you are just fucking silly, but hey, it's your fucking life, right? It's your life, your money, your death. You got to deal with it. So once you're then approaching girls, you got to introduce yourself. So there's the intro or the beginning of it. There's the, talking part, the conversation, and then you got to close, right? And then you do all those, and then you have a phone number. Step 1, step 2, you're texting her. And then step 3, you have a date, okay? It's not gonna happen until you get over approach anxiety, all right? Just like Alcoholics Anonymous, approach Pussies Anonymous, okay? But you're not anonymous because I'm talking to you and you know who you are. So, intro, talk to her, right? You gotta actually know how to start the conversation, have the conversation so that, you know, maybe she has a good impression of you, but then after you don't know what to say, or you talk about dumb shit, or you're kind of weird in the way that you come off, you have bad fundamentals, you gotta nail that. Then you have to ask her out and get her phone number. Then you have your phone number and you're texting her, and then you have an actual date. Okay, so how do you do all of that? Well, that's a lot more complicated, okay? Approach anxiety is the easiest part. It's just psychological manipulation on yourself, right? This is actually technical knowledge, okay? So this shit is covered by my course called Meet Girls Everywhere, MGE for short, because I have acronyms. Cool. I do go over approach anxiety a little bit more in there. I use a lot of the stuff I just said, but some extra stuff, I think. So MGE, Meet Girls Everywhere, you learn how to talk to girls, do all this. Check it out, it's in the description below. Get that. You have her phone number, and you gotta text her. Well, that's where my book, What She Really Means, comes in, okay? Get it, it's super cheap, in the description below. This is a little bit more expensive, this is super cheap. So at least get this, right? But you should get this too. Date, one date, girlschase.com, it's on the front fucking page, go get it. Chase is in it, I'm in it, I interview him in it, and we go over the actual date process. So there you go. Most of what you need to know, covered in our courses. Cool, spend your money, description below. Go fuck yourself, I love you, Hector Castillo. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, blah, 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 YouTube shit, bye.